Summary of Unpolished Gem by Alice Pung. The memoir of Alice Pung's life, called Unpolished Gem, starts when her parents, Quan and Kien, come to Victoria, Australia, with her Aunt Kay and her paternal grandma, Huyn Tai. She says that Alice's story does not begin on a boat, but on the streets of Footscray, a suburb of Melbourne, where cars are stopped by the lights. As the Pungs watch the Australians safely cross the street when the little red man turns into a little green man, they know they are in a wonderland. Early in the morning, Kien gives birth to their first child, Alice. They name her after the enchanted place where they live now. The Pungs move into their first home in Footscray. It takes them a while to get used to their new surroundings, but they do, and they continue to have more children. Alexander is Kien's son, who will be born soon. Quan works hard at a nearby plant. Also living with them is Huyn Tai. Alice listens to her grandmother tell stories about the old country as she grows up. Alice and Huyn Tai have a special bond, but Kien is always fighting with her mother-in-law. Huyn Tai controls every part of their lives. She even takes care of Kien's money and daughter. Kien feels trapped by her control. Alice is stuck between the women and their fights when she is a child. They both use her to get back at the other, even though she loves both of them. The women always talk about each other behind each other's backs. Kien calls Alice a word spreader because she moves from camp to camp. Kien deals with her sadness by working, and she starts selling gold jewelry out of the garage of her family's house. Huyn Tai raises Alice well and always teaches her to be proud of her Chinese background, even though she works long hours. Alice tries, but her grandma always puts her in a padded mouse suit, which makes the other kids at school tease her. Alice doesn't quite fit in, and she's shy to talk because English isn't her first language. Not long after, Kien gets pregnant again, and Huyn Tai moves out to live with Quebec. Allison is born, and Kien goes back to work right away. This leaves Alice to take care of her new sister. Now that Huyn Tai has left, she has to do everything herself. No one is there to make Alice food or take care of her. Kien quickly gives birth to Alina, and Alice has twice as much work to do. She spends all her time going to school and taking care of babies, and she gets tired of it. Plus, her folks only seem to notice when she does something wrong and don't seem to value how hard she works. At the same time, Kien's skin and lungs start to hurt from the chemicals she works with, so she has to stop working to get better. When Kien is stuck at home all day without any work or purpose, she falls deeply depressed. Kien is sure she is useless because she can't work and doesn't speak English. She really wants to learn English and work at Quan's new electronics shop, but she gives up quickly and stays at home. Alice is still stressed out from having to meet standards at home and school, and then Huyn Tai has a stroke. So she can't do anything, she just stares at Kay's ceiling every day with her one good eye. She gets sick quickly and dies, and Alice's sadness gets worse. She can't pay attention to her tests, and she's sure she'll fail. Alice is taken to the doctor by Quan and Kien. The doctor gives her a bunch of pills to take, but Alice spits them all down the toilet instead. She believes that there is no way out. Alice falls asleep too early on the day of her final tests and almost misses them. Alice is sure she won't be able to go to college, but it doesn't matter because all that is expected of her is that she make a good pot of rice, has a pretty face, and is fertile. Quan talks her into calling to find out how she did on her test, and she is shocked to learn that she did well. Next year, Alice will start at the University of Melbourne. This is the first time she feels like her life will be okay. During the summer before college, Alice and Kien work together in Quan's shop. Despite not being able to speak the language, Kien becomes the top seller. Alice is finally content, and then she meets Michael, an Australian boy who is white. Jane and Michael start going out on dates, and over time, they fall in love. Michael tries very hard to get her parents to like him after she introduces him to them. It's too bad that Kien believes their disagreements are insurmountable. Michael really is a white ghost, and Kien tells Alice that all Australian men sleep around and aren't good enough to marry. Alice likes Michael, But she is only 18 years old and doesn't think she is ready to make big choices about her life. In the end, she breaks up with him. He says he knows, but Alice doesn't believe him. Even though it breaks her heart, she knows it's the right thing to do. Huin Tai has finally been buried, and Alice is truly happy for the first time. Michael and Alice are split up. Her future looks bright and interesting, and her grandmother taught her to value her family and Chinese culture very much.
About the author. Alice Pung was born in Footscray, Victoria, in 1981. She was the first of Quan Pung and Chia Qian's 4 children. Both of Alice's parents are Teochew Chinese and were born in Cambodia. In the late 1980s, they fled the Khmer Rouge's killing fields and came to Australia. The reason Alice Pung was named after the main character in Lewis Carroll's book Alice's Adventures in Wonderland is that her father saw Australia as a magical place full of chances and fun. Pung spent most of her childhood in Braybrook, a neighborhood west of Melbourne. She went to 5 different schools there, one of which was a Catholic school for girls only. She also went to law school at the University of Melbourne and is still working as a lawyer in the areas of minimum wage and pay equality. Pung's first book, a biography called Unpolished Gem, came out in 2006 and got good reviews from both readers and critics. In 2007, Unpolished Gem won the Australian Newcomer of the Year award and was on the shortlist for Australian Book of the Year. In 2008, Pung put together the collection of short stories called Growing Up Asian in Australia. The next year, she wrote her second book, Her Father's Daughter, which won the non-fiction prize at the Western Australian Books Awards. Pung wrote Lorinda, her first book for young adults, in 2014. It won the 2016 Ethel Tuner Prize for Young People's Literature. Pung lives in Melbourne, Australia, with her husband Nick.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.